So there is some bad news regarding Nintendo that I would have liked to cover earlier, but I did not have the time up until now. So please listen to my rant, and if you could, please like, repost, share, or just comment down your thoughts on this issue because I don't see a lot of people talking about it. I really would like to hear people's thoughts on this issue. So as of April 29th, 2025, there has been a system update, version 20.0.0, on the Switch that will heavily hurt people using this console, which is the removal and/or limitation of game sharing. For those unaware, or if you want a recap of what game sharing is, it was a feature that allowed people to access and play the same game at the same time by sharing an account with the license of one or multiple games with someone else who does not have their license of said games, effectively allowing two people to play at the same time, often together. This was very helpful for people who did not have the money to purchase two separate copies of a game that they both wanted to play. Also, considering the fact that it's $60 or more for a Nintendo game, which is already insane, but taking into account inflation and all that, and it's a little more reasonable. But Nintendo has recently removed this feature from all Nintendo consoles and had replaced the online downloads of a game with something called virtual cards. I'm sure you've seen them on the little tab below the games. These cards work as they would with the physical game. Only one person could insert a copy of their game into their system. If you try to load a virtual card onto your system while someone's already playing that game, it'll instead kick the person already on this game out, which you could already tell is really bad. These cards effectively end game sharing altogether. Online multiplayer games such as Splatoon will be heavily affected by this change. For many as myself who are either poor or grew up poor, this is a horrible update as it removes game accessibility for many that rely on the concept of game sharing, primarily children who rely on their parents to purchase their games. Consoles and subscriptions are already expensive as it is now, with PlayStation being $80 a year, Xbox Live being $75 for a year, and $20 a year for the Nintendo Online Pass, or $50 if you want the expansion pass. And of course, there is stuff like family plans, which are too long to get into right now. But the point is, many just do not want to spend excessive amounts of money for multiple copies of a certain game. So oftentimes, people will resort to game sharing just so that they're able to enjoy it together at the same time. But it seems that companies like Nintendo are getting more greedier by the day and are beginning to charge the consumers more and more, starting with the removal and limitation of this feature. The reason I want to bring this to light and make a video on it is because I primarily grew up with game sharing, just not on the Switch only, but on PlayStations 3 and 4. I remember when, as a kid, that my cousin's parents and my parents just didn't always have the money to afford new consoles, games, online subscriptions, DLC, all that sort, just for like the both of us. So my cousin and I always relied on game sharing because it allowed us to enjoy the same games on different consoles. Some of the most prevalent I remember were Call of Duty, Minecraft, and Rainbow Six. And even the online subscriptions worked that way. We could somehow share that by doing by registering primary consoles. We had the accessibility to enjoy it, like gaming together, to enjoy playing together, even when we were at different, even though we were like at our own respective houses. We did this just because it was optimal, it was efficient, and but on the Switch, it's just gone. You can't register a different console as a primary and be on be on the secondary and play at the same time. That feature's just gone. I believe that everyone knows that Nintendo did this primarily to squeeze out more money out of their consumers, since they could have just kept this update solely for Switch 2 games, or better yet, they could have used this feature to revolutionize or enhance game sharing by letting digital copies have two virtual cards, since the main issue of game sharing before was that you needed the internet on the secondary console in order to play it. But they decided to push this version of the update onto the original console as well to force players to purchase the new upcoming console, as well as force players to buy more copies of their games. They brand this as an improvement when all it really was removing and limiting an accessibility feature that they promoted at a time. By the way, I don't know if you guys remember that they promoted that the original game sharing idea, and now the reason why I'm saying that they're forcing people to buy a Switch 2 is because of this new quote unquote game share feature, which seems to work like the old DS download play feature, which I'm not sure if any of you guys remember, but it's something similar to that from what it looks like. Unfortunately, there is a problem. You not only need the Switch 2 to even access this feature, which is unavailable of this recording as of this time of recording right now, and even then, for Switch 1 users, you could only connect to it locally, as opposed to other Switch 2 users that will just be able to access this feature online as well. All of these features, like, they're amazing, but the issue is they're adding features but removing others that just it seems so counterintuitive when they could have just enhanced older features. I could care less about the price of the new consoles, the price of the new games, the accessories, or even the controllers, especially taking into account the economic inflation now. But to be honest with you, the biggest gripe I have is that issue of game sharing and the fact that they killed how it worked originally. From what I've seen online, primarily in the Splatoon community, this has destroyed teams or duos as they can no longer play together unless they buy a copy of their own game. Well, yeah, the solution is simple, just buy a new game. It just may not be what others want to do, but instead they're just forced to do it now. And I feel like this is the same for many other online multiplayer games that I'm unaware about. And I'm also afraid that just like Nintendo, other companies like Sony and Microsoft may follow this example of the virtual cards feature. They may just look to remove game sharing as well to promote their own like virtual discs or something like that. These companies always follow the examples of others in regards to anything that makes them more money. And obviously, a company will pursue as much money as possible. So it just makes me afraid that it's gonna ruin more and more for like console gamers. But anyways, I really don't think I have much else to talk about. I really do want to hear your thoughts on this matter, so please comment down below. Tell me what you think about this new system update because I'm not personally the biggest fan of it.